Hi everyone and happy 2026. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing surprise, another video talking about the late fraud Beatrice Sparks, but it's about more than that. It's one of those videos with crossover booktube and authortube appeal. So basically how not to write a book, a novel in, diary slash journal format. And I'm going to parlay this into a future video and blog post. I just had the great idea for it, how to write a believably, structured, plausible type of fictional story told in diary format, not just like, oh, this happened, then that happened, or just writing a complete fake type of book like these. So, let's just start getting down with it. This is based off of a blog post I published on the 24th of November of 2025 called How We Know Beatrice Sparks's Books Weren't Real Journals or Written by Teens. So, inspired by a recent troll comment on my blog, I immediately deleted, whining about how dare I express a negative opinion about Dr. Fraud's books when the old crank is dead. Oh, why do you care so much? Oh, whoever heard of expressing negative opinions about anything on your own blog or YouTube channel? That's just beyond the pale of human decency. So anyway, let's talk about telltale clues proving these were neither real journals nor written by teens. I've mentioned some of these points in prior videos and blog posts, but that was more about her, terrible writing style or proof of fraud in general. Not going to go back over all those points yet. Again, I have plenty of other videos you guys can watch in my playlist. Also, to the troll who inspired this video and blog post, I'm a single person, not a y'all. Actual Southerners don't say y'all or y'alls nearly as often as all these pretentious hipsters who seem allergic to the word you. It's like, sorry, not sorry. My eyes just kind of glaze over when I see the word y'all in an actual social media post, and particularly in the title. Can y'all show me y'all's pictures of y'all's ear piercing setups or interior decoration in your kitchen, or y'all's backsplashes or something, y'all's whatever? It just seems so freaking pretentious, like saying folks all the time. I really hate that one too, but anyway, let's just get down with it. That's a whole rant for another topic. Sorry, not sorry. Number one, journals tend to be written rather casually and informally. Imagine that, since they're intended for our eyes only. We often develop a more polished, sophisticated style if we have future publication, passing the journals down to descendants or friends, or donating them to a museum in mind, I have had for 30 plus years now. But Dr. Fraud's characters declare no such intentions of an audience besides themselves until the big moment near the end, and some of them when they meet the heroic Dr. B writing herself in as the all-conquering hero. Oh, guess what, Nancy? I'm going to help you. I know you're dying of AIDS and can't do anything about it, but you can help other kids in your same situation. Wowee, Dr. B, you're going to turn my book, it's as real of a possibility as I am, or whatever stupid convoluted phrase she uses. Oh, just like my favorite book, Go Ask Alice. That's awesome, but it's just not computing at all. They just don't say from the start or even in the middle, oh, I think this would be cool. Maybe other people would like to read about the struggles I've had with being pregnant as a teenager, or being in foster care, or whatever other things, being sexually harassed and groomed by my math substitute teacher. But no, it's just, oh, I'm just keeping a regular teen journal. That's it. No literary pretensions or intentions for posterity or history or anything. The average person doesn't write and structure a journal like an epistolary novel, and I will definitely get much more into that in the future video, talking about how you can and should, the best way to write an intended deliberate novel in the diary format, so it still tells a story and storylines with actual plots and character development and such, without just sounding just a boring journal with absolutely no telling. It's all showing. I mean, yeah, all showing and no telling, whatever. I got them confused. But anyway, number two, even if we are writing with publication, family, or historical record in mind, our inherent style remains what it is. Someone who cares more about hanging out at the mall, Nancy, with friends and school and reading, doesn't constantly bust out show-off thesaurus words or passages worthy of a pretentious literary novel like the one Rick Emerson also mentioned this in his wonderful book, Unmask Alice, as one of the phrases that really sticks out to the woman who was working at Avon Books at the time. And she was feeling all these like red flags, but she just let them go. Oh, what a beautiful day. It has been by far the most beautiful day of my life. Cue the all caps, her pet fetish. The beginning of a future that is going to be more glorious than has ever been known by mankind since the beginning of the earth, ellipsis, as well as all the other creations of infinity. Nice Mormon references there, by the way. It's like, seriously, who the hell talks like that? And just a 14-year-old who's not really like intelligent at all. She just seems like an idiotic, like, ditzy flake. Number 3, a real person keeping a journal, especially a teen, writes about a variety of things happening in one's life, not just a single issue, like I did when I was a teenager. Even someone going through an event like pregnancy or AIDS has a life outside of that. Dr. Fraud's characters never mention teachers, classmates, beyond a handful of poorly drawn BFFs. Like, I couldn't tell you anything about who these other characters even are. They're just so like flaky and one-dimensional and forgettable. Extended family, local news, school lunches, homework, assigned readings, hobbies, classes, funny things that happened at school, like major world news events. Like as a teen of the 90s, I could have told you so many things her characters like should have been writing about and having opinions and caring about if they were actual teenagers, or like going to the movies, like the TV shows they like to watch, like anything that would indicate a well-rounded normal life. Like seriously, like yet again, like did she really expect anyone to believe that these were real diaries? They're only writing about the single issue. It sounds suspiciously, because it was more like a book told deliberately and formulaically in like diary format, with a set beginning, middle, end, black moment, denouement, and usually the evil, not the evil end, the unhappily ever after. In her first book, she always has the characters dying. Number 4, likewise, people tend to mention music, books, TV shows, and films in their journals. Dr. Fraud's characters are eerily devoid of pop culture, apart from a few scant mentions in passing. Are we supposed to believe they never listen to music, watch TV or movies, or read for pleasure? Are they that stupid? And when she does mention such things, they don't line up with the real-life calendar dates, like the Garth Brooks concert in this book that never happened. Like, seriously, he wasn't even touring at that date anywhere. Or a film that wasn't in theaters then in this book. This is like, wow, readers should not be putting more research effort into books than the actual writer when they're like preparing the book review, or they're laughably archaic. Annie in The Crappy Annie's Baby mentions freaking Junie prom. Like, what? Wow. A short-lived 1940s advice column. Like, it was actually called Girl to Girl, but it was part of the Junie prom cartoon. And so anyway, Dr. Fraud wrote this for Joseph Barbera, the famous cartoonist. He was actually involved with that scam artist in his early career, instead of like, say, like Friends, the Backstreet Boys, or the film Scream. Like, are we really supposed to believe this? Like, what real 90s teen just doesn't mention like anything about pop culture, like big world news? Number 5, her narrators also never mention any news, as I was just saying. She well and truly wanted us to believe these teens were empty-headed flakes with no lives outside of their problems, precious mommykins, and a couple of equally shallow friends. This trademark omission is particularly shocking and unbelievable in Kim, Empty Inside. Like, very, very like appropriate, ironically appropriate name for the book. This really is empty inside of all substance. So anyway, the dating lines up with 2001 through 2002, even though the book goes past its publication date. Are we supposed to believe there's magical powers going on? But which gives the 2000 autumn semester start date for UCLA. Like, what an idiot. But, whenever Dr. Fraud intended to set it, there's no mention of either the 2000 presidential election or 9/11. Like, what? And there's even like a big jump between like September dates, like, oh, something big happened in between, or, oh, everyone is gearing up. We're talking about who we want to vote for president. I'm excited. This is my first election I can vote in, and people are like having debates, and I'm watching stuff on TV, and like nothing, like, just, it's only about the pretended eating disorder and a couple of like, shallow teen drama like storylines. Number 6, this is my favorite thing to rant about. Teens are kind of famous, like imagine that, for having difficult relationships with their mothers, like their fathers too, but like in general more with the mothers. I mean, I hate to stereotype, but that's generally like human nature and like basic adolescent psychology. They're not constantly declaring, "Ooh, I'm so glad my dear, sweet, precious mom is my dear, sweet, precious mom, precious forever mama. I grew from a tiny seed inside you, and I don't want us to be apart anymore. Oh God," the vocative O, not the modern word OH. "How can I function without my mama to cuddle me, bake me cookies, and read me stories?" And that last one is from a 15-year-old boy. What a loser. That's the kind of thing that gets your ass kicked at school. Being a babyish goody-goody joined at the hip with your mommy. But hey, for over half of this fraud's life, movies were full of people calling their parents darling or mother darling, daddy dear. Like I really am overdue to make a drinking game of how many times people like overuse the word darling in old movies, particularly calling their parents mother darling, daddy dear. It just sounds so goofy and pretentious. She probably thought that was totally normal. Number 7. By the 1990s, calling one's own peers kids and the kids was quite archaic slang. This is probably my second favorite thing to rant about in her books. No one said stuff like, "Ooh, I'm so excited. All the kids are coming to my birthday party," or "A whole bunch of kids went to Florida on spring break." This, like, seriously, people would be laughing at someone who used that kind of language. "Oh, what, you're like 20, 18, 19, and you're calling us kids? What do you think of us? Are you a pretentious snob? You think you're better than us? Or you think we're so babyish at 18? Number 8, a journal is a place for honesty, a judgment-free zone. No real person apologizes for thinking negative thoughts, cursing, or failing to genuflect before mommykins 24/7 in one's own journal. It's like one of the like number 1 or like just about right up there rules she must have had for writing this is, "Remember to keep pile driving your head up darling mama's ass 24/7. And if you're not constantly proclaiming your love for mommy, are you even teenagering properly? Like, ew, go back to the temple and learn some lessons from the bishop." Number 9, no one has back and forth conversations, arguments, or as Dr. Fraud was obsessed with saying, like in every single book, quarrels. Like, what teen uses the word quarrel instead of fight or argument or arguing? Or tantrums with a journal, like in that, particularly in Annie's Baby, as though it's a real person, even if one names the journal. That's a serious sign of mental disturbance. Like, and she claimed to be a real psychologist. Number 10, I heard precisely 0 American teens in the 90s using the word bum. Like, I've seen the most of it, and it happened to Nancy, but it's been a while since I've read most of her other books. It's probably lurking around in there many times too. It was always ass or butt, or a term like rear end when more formal or conservative language were required. Like, for example, you were writing something for like English class or talking in front of your like grandparents. Well, my grandparents weren't the like stuffy type. Like, they were using the words like, ass all the time. But like, I guess not most, but just like, well, I guess certain audiences, like maybe you're a more conservative family in general. You did have grandparents who like, oh, they were scandalized by certain language. You would use other terms, but like bum, that's like a UK and Irish and I believe Australian and New Zealand thing. It's not American teens of my generation. I had never heard any of them saying the word bum. It's always like ass or butt. Number 11, likewise, no one I knew used silly euphemisms, like again in this book, let gas, like what? And go BM, like that's silly and stupid. I would make fun of people talking like that. Even I would. Yeah, even I would have laughed at someone using such Victorian language. And this is also the only place I've ever heard the term date dumped. Like, what? Did she not want to say like date rape? Like, what? There's so much stupid language that no one really used. Number 12, I have never read any other journals where the time of day is given for almost every entry. Like, it's like without fail. Is that a thing Mormons are taught to do? They do love journals. I've only ever seen the time mentioned or like done it myself in my own journals when it's relevant. So like, for example, it's 3 a.m. and I'm still too upset to go to sleep. Or, oh, it's like 2 in the afternoon. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. Palms are sweating, heart's pounding, whatever. Oh, the graduation ceremony is in less than an hour. Something like that. Not just writing at the top of the time, like, oh, question mark day, question mark time, that's unusual. 6:30 p.m., 9:10 p.m., 3:30 p.m., 5:15, 11:11 a.m., 4:10 p.m., 10:10, 3:09 p.m. They're so specific too. Number 13, someone who has just experienced a trauma of any kind is highly unlikely to voluntarily sit down and journal about it in explicit detail barely over an hour later, as I mentioned in a mental health May video, like reasons was not a real psychologist, nor to return to the journal multiple times throughout that same night to add more details and feelings. Like, again, like she did not understand psychology or human nature, like teenagers. You mentioned it happened without delving into the tragic specifics and thus reliving such a painful experience still so fresh in mind. Over time, as you feel ready and willing, you elaborate more details and your state of mind. Like, it was so completely clueless and ignorant. Number 14, teens are cognitively incapable of thinking like adults on account of their incompletely developed prefrontal cortex. Dr. Fraud's characters reflect on everything with mental maturity, well past their years, and look down on peers for not being mature enough to refrain from typical teen behavior, like, for example, like having sex or sneaking out of the house and not being best friends with mommy or anything like that. That's a very Mormon thing as well. I've heard like many former Mormons talking about this kind of like culture and moral superiority towards their own like same age peers. Even when they were young, they were just like indoctrinated, inculcated with. Number 15, real life is messy, complicated, and nuanced. Like, say it isn't so. It doesn't go neatly from point A to point Z with a perfectly constructed beginning, middle, end, black moment, denouement, plot twists, and happy ever after, or as Dr. Fraud did in her earlier books, a tragic ending imparting a life lesson for the kids. Number 16, we express our values and views in a way reflective of the era we grew up in. A genuinely religious, conservative, and or old-fashioned teen of the late 20th century would sound very different from one born in 1917. Like, seriously, I've said so many times they all come across like conservative, like Mormons, like fill in her age at the time she wrote the books in like 50s, like 60s, 70s, 80s, instead of actual teens of that era. Yeah, I expressed like a fair number of like, I guess, more old-fashioned, not politically conservative so much because I'm not a conservative, but am like personally rather like old-fashioned. So I would express views like that in my journals, like, oh, I can't believe it, all these like couples on Maury and Springer. I'm getting back into watching talk shows. Or why are they having all these children without being married? And I didn't realize premarital sex was so common for people you're not serious about and don't want to marry. But I wouldn't say, oh, I'm looking down on them. Oh, they're so gross and slutty and vulgar and sexy and dirty. Ew, gross. I'm morally superior to them. I feel so sorry. They'll never know the timeless bond of only having sex within marriage. She just did not sound like a typical teen, even one with somewhat more out of step, I guess, views that were a little bit more conservative than most other teens would have had. Number 17, teen girls of the 90s and early 2000s weren't desperate to be married as young as possible like Nancy and Kim, and didn't immediately get super serious with their first and only boyfriends. I've mentioned this in quite a bit of detail in the videos about these books. Oh no, I can't believe it. We're going to break up, but I love him. And oh, daddy, we're joined at the hip. We started acting like a married couple of 20 plus years from the very day we formally got together. Oh, no wonder you've been pushing off coming home for Christmas. Don't worry, babykins. We'll get you 2 plane tickets 2 hours before the flight leaves on Christmas Eve. That's so possible and cheap. And oh, Lawrence can stay in the apartment. We totally trust him. It must be serious if you're already so codependent already. And whoever heard of a 17, 18-year-old girl not having marriage on her mind? And they didn't didn't immediately get super serious with their first and only boyfriends. Number 18, they also didn't name daughters after themselves or fantasize about future daughters named for themselves. She's done this in so many books, oh, little baby Nancy and Lou Jr. and Lil Annie and Lil Dory, and what? That's just not a thing that happens much anymore. Usually when I hear of it, or at least in the West, it's tragically a posthumous daughter, so the the mother like died in childbirth. It was like, God forbid, like a posthumous C-section. She like they had to get the baby out because the mother was like already dead, or the mother died within like the first few days of giving birth. So it's like a beautiful way to honor and remember the mother. This child, this girl will never know, but like it's in general, like when do you ever hear, like, let alone having a common like occurrence of girls or women these days who are named after their mothers, particularly the firstborn, or like at all? It's like you more likely to hear boys who are like junior or Roman numerals, but even that I believe is starting to fall like somewhat more out of fashion. Number 19. A homeless druggie, go ask Alice, moving from place to place, wouldn't have the wherewithal to journal on napkins and paper bags, nor would she keep this ramshackle collection in chronological order. Like, seriously, lady, try to at least sound real. Number 20, the last item. A real diarist would record events like giving birth. Yeah, I wonder, like, even no matter what your age, having sex for the first time, how could she not, like, think teenagers would want to talk about that? Almost going all the way with a new beau and getting dumped by one's first serious crush in great detail, instead of in a few vague lines, or they might even keep writing about it and writing about it for days and days. Oh, I'm still so excited. Oh, here's some new details I remembered. Oh, wow. And like the entry might last like 10 long pages or something, and you like run out of ink and you have to keep re-inking your pen. Or if you do the reusable, not the reusable, the disposable ballpoints, like running through 10 different pens, because there is so much you want to say, both like, emotionally and about the details that would happen. Someone keeping a dedicated regular journal as a detailed record of one's life to look back on later, writes about everything, especially during the teen years when everything feels so intense and world altering. That's like a big thing about adolescent psychology, because the experiences are so like new. You've never done them before. Like, oh, this is the first time I've done anything sexual or had a boyfriend or gone on a date, and so I have nothing to compare it to, and it just feels so like wow and intense. It's like, oh, I will never feel this way about any other guy again. How could I want to marry like anyone else? Or how could I ever not feel like super excited and want to record like making out or whatever in detail, because like it's just never happened before. And like teens, they just feel so everything so intensely, like no matter what it is. So like many reasons we know these were not like real teen journals. So thank you very much for watching all the way through to the end. I'm look forward, if you guys are into this kind of stuff, about my upcoming video talking about how to write a book set that's in journal, your diary format, that's a novel. Whether you're a reader or a writer, like maybe you could look for things to look for in books if you're not a writer, or if you're a writer. Oh, this is a good way to structure it and tell the story. So thanks again for watching. A happy new year again. I profusely apologize. I accidentally hit end before I had finished saying goodbye to you guys. So again, thanks very much for watching all the way through to the end, and I will see you very soon. Bye.